Didn't see you come in. Hi guys. Yeah, this is the second night at the Roxy. Well, no, it's not. It's the part 2 of the Twins of Beervil. So this is open to anybody who wants to join. So feel free to get in touch and we can sort something out. I don't know if it came across yesterday, but I was having absolutely annoying as fuck technical difficulties where I just couldn't mute myself. And then sometimes I was being muted. And I don't know what the hell was going on. And I'm looking back at myself here as I've got the Hangout window open and I'm all laggy and stuff. So, yeah, just a free flow this evening.
Do you hear or do I smash the mirror?
Hello, Ron.
Do you hear or fear or do I smash the mirror? Hello! Welcome from the Empire of America.
How are you, my friend?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Just thought I've got the place to myself for the weekend and I thought I'd do a couple of hangouts.
Oh!
Yeah, glad you could join us.
You know, I didn't join you in a few of the other hangouts, and I thought to myself, I said, he probably thinks I'm blowing him off like he's doesn't count for anything. I said, but the truth is, I just had things to do and I couldn't do it. I don't blow people off. I just can't do every hangout because, as we know, there's a lot of hangouts in this world.
Yeah. No need to worry about it. I was just, whoever wants to join is happy to join. But yeah, things get in the way, and yeah.
Peter, do you know what I did this week?
What did you do this week, Ron?
Well, let me tell you what I did. I traveled to Tennessee and Kentucky, and I went on 3 distillery tours.
Oh, jolly good. Where did you go?
I toured Jack Daniels, and I toured Barton Distillery, and I toured Buffalo Trace. One of the tours was a ripoff, or a jip, as we used to say in the pre-politically correct days. It was a jip because it was $17. Uh-oh. But the Barton and Distillery Trace were great values because they were free.
Ah, okay. Was that just free admission, or did you get invited to them?
Hey, you want to see? Hold on. First, I want to preface what I say with this. A friend of mine came over and we reviewed 2 extremely high gravity ales. One was 12.4% alcohol and one was 10.1% alcohol. So anything I say on this hangout should be considered as used for entertainment purposes only. Okay.
Okay, fully understood.
People should disregard anything I say as it is a parody, a satire, and not to be taken seriously. That's my disclaimer. Here's Bush Beer, the new label. Would I recommend this? Not necessarily, but when you look at the price point, there is a huge market for it.
Okay.
$4.99 for a 6-pack of cans, which contain, let's see, what's the let's see, I'm trying to find the Commonwealth.
Okay. Sounds
About
like a buzz.
175 milliliters, and you get 6 of these cans for $4.99 at the most. You can probably get them cheaper. So, you know, you have to take that into account.
Yeah.
And we're not millionaires, you know. You may be. I'm not.
I wish I was.
I'm only a thousandaire. But okay, so try to rein things in. All right. So I went to these distilleries. Jack Daniel's was fine. You know, it was very polished. You get the corporate presentation. You pay your $17, and you had the very heartwarming and supposedly humorous jokes, very well scripted, etc. But it was interesting to see that the tour guide got into a rather heated argument, or let's say a discussion, with a man from Scotland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, over the use of barrels. So I just sat back and I thought, I like this kind of stuff, because the Scottish guy was making some good points, and then the tour guide became extremely agitated and hostile. And I think his training told him, I think this came from his training. It was basically this: no matter what is discussed on the tour, if there's ever a perception that the brand, Jack Daniel's, is being attacked, in the brand at all costs.
Oh, okay.
So then he started to adopt a take no prisoners approach. So the Scottish guy did back off after a while, although what the Scottish guy was saying was valid. So that was I wish I could have recorded that. That would have been
that sounded like an interesting confrontation.
That would have been video gold, believe me. I can give you a 1-minute summary if you want to hear it.
I'm all ears.
Okay, so they go through this whole tour, and it's very interesting. It's not worth $17, but it's interesting nonetheless. Like, for instance, they tell you how Jack Daniel's is a bourbon and how they brew it, distill it according to the bourbon standards, but then at the end, but yet it's not a bourbon. Yeah, right. Okay, but anyway, it is a bourbon, but anyway. All right, so then they just keep harping on the fact that they only use the barrels once. That's not really important, because no bourbon company in America uses bourbon barrels more than once, because it's a law. It's a law that you can only use a bourbon barrel once to make bourbon. It has to be an unused barrel. Okay, so the Scottish guy, I'm watching this guy. These are well-heeled businessmen, obviously on a business trip. So they're just listening, and I'm thinking, these guys are waiting to make they're waiting to make their move, but they're just listening. You know, they're holding back, but I'm waiting for it, you know. So the guy's going on and on about the barrels, the barrels, the barrels. So then the Scottish guy raises his hand. He says, oh yes, this is quite interesting. He says, but he says, you do know that in Scotland, we use barrels for 50 years and make Scotch, which is well regarded.
Yep.
Worldwide. Well, then the Tennessee guy, Jack Daniel's, his face got red and his shoulders bowed up like this. I said, he says, oh yeah, okay. He says, well, I'm going to give you some advice. Okay, it went over a minute.
Oh,
but I'm almost, he says, go home tonight to your hotel, wherever you are, and make a cup of tea. He said, tomorrow, make another cup of tea and use that same tea bag. And you tell me how good that tea is going to be. Now, the Scottish guy says, well, no thanks, I wouldn't do that. So then the Jack Daniel's tour guide says, that's right. We only use them once. You can use them 50 years if you'd like, and that's fine with us. If you want to make Scotch and use barrels for 50 years, that is not a problem. He said, but let me tell you something. That He said, that scotch is rich and dark and copper color, isn't it? And the Scottish guy says, well, yeah. He says, and let me tell you why, because you add caramel color. Everybody knows this. This is a law. It is allowed in Scotland to add caramel color. We do not add any coloring, any flavors to Jack Daniels. And he was getting so angry. And then the Scottish guy backed off. And then the Jack Daniels tour guide says, what do you call barrels in Scotland? Oh, casks. They're called casks. He said, what is a cask used for? And then I said, oh my goodness. So I was just eating that up. But boy, if I could have gotten that on video, I would have loved it. But I got a lot of good.
That would have been a good one. I did notice.
Yeah, because
you uploaded videos actually. That I need to. Sorry, I'm just having a few technical difficulties, which is normal for Google. But yeah, I had seen that you've uploaded videos actually.
Yeah, I see that you're kind of breaking up a little bit, but I don't know if you can hear me all right. You hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, yeah, I just see your video. Your video is sort of frozen, but I can hear you perfectly.
Oh, okay. I've been having issues for like the last 5 Hangouts that I've had, and I just do not know what is going on. So hopefully you can still hear me.
I hear you fine. It's probably Donald Trump that caused that. That was fascinating, and I did a bunch of videos. Well, I've made videos on these tours. You know, when I went on the video tour, when I went on the distillery tour, the people said you can take as many photos as you'd like. They told me this at Barton Distillery and at Buffalo Trace. The real name is Shenley, but Buffalo Trace sounds better for marketing purposes. But I had a video camera, so I'm taking ostensibly I'm taking stills, but I was recording live video the whole time, and it was fascinating. But I should have done it on Jack Daniels tour because that would have been, like I said, video gold. But yeah, I posted a lot of videos, and it was really something because they showed how they unloaded the corn, and they let us taste bourbon that was pre-mixed. In other words, when they make bourbon, it's so strong it'll kill you. It really will. It'll make you die. And
okay.
She said they have to cut it with water. They add a lot of water to dilute it. But she let us try the purified, clear. It's clear like water, and it burns your lips. It's staggering. You would love it, Peter, because it's staggering. If you take a little sip, it brings you down. Oh, you take one sip and it brings you to one knee.
Yeah.
It's like 90% alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. But the interesting thing is this is sold at a local store here. You can buy it at a store. Your own liquor. You can buy this purified alcohol and you can go home and make your own liquor, But they'll tell you on the website, don't drink it because it'll kill you, But she let us taste it, and then they talked about how they diluted it and they put it in the barrels, and then they used the bourbon barrels to age brandy.
Ooh.
And it was ironic because I had just recently purchased the brandy that was aged in those bourbon barrels. So the whole thing was like fascinating, really.
Oh yeah, especially since you've been doing all these videos recently. I can imagine that was a really intriguing set of tours.
Oh, well, Jack Daniels was okay, but what they let you taste was minimal. I mean, you pay $17 and they let you taste just the tiniest little bit. 2 of which were good and 2 of which were ghastly. Why you would want to mix whiskey with honey, I don't know.
Oh, I think I've actually got a bottle of the Jim Beam honey.
Well, I feel sorry for you.
I don't, because I very rarely delve into spirits. I'm more of a, when I do, it's more along the lines of a gin. because one of my favourite drinks aside from drinking beer is every now and then having a gin and tonic.
Yeah, yeah. I did a lot of gin reviews in late 2016, early 2017, but I kind of got away from gin because it's very insidious. You know what I'm talking about. Gin is an insidious drink.
Yeah.
You know, you can be in a good mood drinking gin, doing reviews, and next thing you know, you're on top of a tower with a rifle and the cops are trying to talk you down.
Oh yeah, it can get you in some tricky situations.
So I'm very wary of gin. Brandy is, yes, it's insidious, but less so. And then the whiskey is even less so. And I think the good thing about whiskey is it gives you a lot of warning signs as you drink through a glass, because
oh yeah,
whiskey has a little harshness to it, so it'll like give you little warning signs like watch it, watch it, watch it. You know,
yeah.
it gives you these little sirens that go off. Whereas gin has no alerts.
No, it doesn't. It's weird thing. Gin tastes exactly like the tonic water that you put into it. I find, aside from like sort of the more artisanal and higher brow gins, which have got a bit more flavour and profile to them, but just something like a Gordon's dry gin.
Right.
If you drink that, you just get the bitterness. You don't get the alcohol, I find. So,
No.
like you were saying, you get the warning signs with whiskey. You know when you're getting to that point where I should stop drinking the whiskey. But with gin, it's a lot easier to get carried away, I find.
Yeah, so after I finished the last bottle of gin, which was a very strange concoction from Kentucky, and a British guy was commenting on my videos. He said, I don't feel comfortable watching a video for a gin made in Kentucky. That doesn't seem right to me. I said, well, you know, America has its own little way of doing things. I know gin is properly done in merry old England, but we do it here, and I don't endorse it. But after I finished that last bottle, I thought to myself, yeah, I'm going to get away from this for a little while, because I don't know, it's a little too dangerous. And the brandy is fairly dangerous, and I don't mess with it too much. But the whiskey, I feel comfortable with whiskey because, like you said, it gives a lot of alerts. You know, it'll give you an alert.
Yeah, you've sort of tamed the beast when it comes to whiskey.
Yeah.
You've stimulated yourself with it. You've become familiar with the warning sign. Yeah.
But anyway, I went to Barton, which these are very old distilleries, you know, like built in the 1880s.
Mm-hmm.
And everything. And so and the tour was fascinating. And so of course I'm on the road. I drove 800 miles. I don't know what that is in kilometers, but you figure 12 hours on the road, you know. You're like driving from London to Warsaw, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or London to Prague, you know. So I bought this. This is Barton blended whiskey, and this little monstrosity was $5.99. But I figured, what the heck? I mean, you know.
Yeah.
And then
you might as well.
May as well. I mean, I got rid of $6, and then I bought the very old Barton, which is straight whiskey, not mixed with any kind of you know, neutral spirits. It's just straight whiskey. I bought this, and this is their flagship, and apparently in Kentucky it's like one of the top brands. It's unheard of in Louisiana, but I said, what the heck, that. And then tomorrow I have this coming up. Now this is sold in Louisiana. This is from Heaven Hill. It's Kentucky whiskey, and a lot of people that live in shelters and find themselves on the verge of eviction do drink this. So I think that
Oh, okay, so it's one of those type of whiskies then.
Yeah, I think I should review it since a lot of people with devastating life problems do drink it. I don't think they pour it into a glass and reflect upon the flavor, the aroma in the body. But
yeah, they just take it straight from the bottle.
In a paper bag as they're laying on the curb as cars pass by. But, you know, here's what they give you at the distillery. They give you a bung. You know what a bung is?
Oh, yeah, is that from the barrel?
When they pop a hole in the barrel to test it, they hammer a bung back in there to seal it up. But the lady stamped it. She said, "We stamped the bung with this. This is how we stamped the barrels. 2017 E, the 5th letter. That's May 31st." So I said, "That's a nice souvenir."
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's a fascinating event, like a little adventure.
Oh yeah, I could imagine that. I mean, I'm not the biggest whiskey drinker,
No.
but something like that would be, especially if you're in that area. I mean, I know you were saying that the Jack Daniels was an okay tour, but even if you're not the biggest fan of Jack Daniels, you're still gonna, if you're in the area, spend a couple of hours or so.
It's like if you went to Paris and you just didn't want to go to the Eiffel Tower. That's pretty stupid. You know, it's like obviously everybody that goes to Tennessee visits Jack Daniel's distillery.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say, I think I would feel comfortable saying that 50% of the people visiting that distillery do not drink alcohol, but they just want it to be there because it's so iconic.
Oh,
you know?
It's a great thing to say that you've been to.
Right, and you realize you're being ripped off. And but like when people go to Atlanta, Georgia, they're going to go to Coca-Cola. That's the headquarters of Coca-Cola. This is an iconic worldwide beverage. You've got to go to Coca-Cola. Now, if I went to England, I'm trying to think of a big brand over in England. I would have to visit. I mean, you would go to London Bridge. You would go to. You would go look at Big Ben. You would go to Parliament. The Tower of London. I mean, maybe it's not that great, but you got to go. You got to go watch the changing of the guard. You know what I mean? You do. You have to do it because then you come back home to America. People say, "Oh, what did you think about the changing of the guard?" "Oh, I didn't go see that because we went to this little place down in some part of southeastern London. We ate a hamburger." People say, "You crazy?" You know, so
you went all the way to London and you didn't see the changing of the guards. It's one of those things. Even if you're not really that interested in that sort of thing, I think it's always a valuable experience to actually experience something like that.
Right. So people that go to Tennessee, they drive way out into the country, and believe me, this is way out in the country. We're talking about remote. There's one stoplight in the whole town, one red light in the whole town. There's nothing there. But you're going to go to Jack Daniel's, and for whatever it's worth, and it ain't worth much, but for whatever it's worth, you go see it. Now, I do have to admit, it was fascinating to look at their extensive bottle collection. They had these dozens and dozens of bottles going back to the 1870s, and they showed how their bottles changed over the years up until today. Well, you know, you got to admit that is pretty good, and that's probably a small sample of what they have in their storage. So those kind of things, it really is interesting.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, it would be a place that I'd like to visit.
Yeah, and just to watch how they drip. You know, I pick on Jack Daniel's because it's an easy target, but they have been in business since 1866. But they take this bourbon. Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Tennessee whiskey. Ha ha ha. And they drip it, little drips, through a 14-foot barrel, a 14-foot column. It's like a shaft, 14 feet. I don't know what is that in metric? let's say,
not too sure. I can never do the conversion.
I think it's like ×3. So you say 28, 38, 4. Let's say a 42 meter shaft, a 42 meter shaft of charcoal, carbon, charcoal, that is packed together as tight as you can imagine. And they only use white sugar maple oak, maple, not oak, maple. They burn this wood and they make charcoal. They drip it through there, and it goes. It takes about 3 days for that liquid to drip through the charcoal to the bottom, where it's then filtered and bottled. Does that really make a difference? Probably not. But I'm not a scientist. I can't say it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
It is interesting to just see these enormous columns, and there's dozens of these things, and it's dripping through there. I don't have that kind of money to ever contrive something like that. Maybe it's a gimmick, but it's a damn impressive gimmick, you know?
Oh yeah, it's the whole. It's like the theatrics of it all.
And I'm cynical, right? So I'm on the tour shaking my head like, get real, you know. But all these other people, they're in love. You got to understand that there's people that just love Jack Daniels, and they're buying the T-shirts, they're buying the coffee cups, they're buying the, I don't know, Jack Daniels headbands, caps, just whatever worthless item you need to buy so you can wear it or put it in your home. And they're just so excited to be there. And I swear, if you made a negative comment about that whiskey, you might be physically attacked.
Oh yeah,
so
the picture should be at the ready.
You know how that is in Great Britain. You got people that just love certain products like beer, like Carling. Okay, there's an easy target, right? What's the easiest target in Great Britain? Carling. Oh, well, let's go to a soccer match. Oh, I'm sorry, football. Let's go to a football game. After the game, let's go to a pub and start talking dog about Carling. You might find that your teeth get knocked out because there's people that adore Carling. A lot of their life revolves around the culture of Carling lager. So it might be well advised not to go into that bar and start talking dog and putting on the beer snob mantle.
Oh yeah,
sort of setting, right?
There's plenty of places where you would get a slap for being a beer snob. Well, more than a slap in some places, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's like over here, you know. It would be extremely ill-advised to go into some of these local joints around here and start spouting off about the negative attributes of Bud Light.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't care about Bud Light. I'll talk bad about Bud Light 20 hours a day. But they got other people that they'll want to fight. They'll literally want to go out into the parking lot by the cars and fight with you because you said bad things about Bud Light. It's almost like you insulted their mother.
Oh yeah, it's nice how near and dear to people's hearts something like that can be, because like their family drank it, like they used to drink with their father or something like that. So it's amazing how people can get really quite overly protective about something like that.
Right. So I've learned to just let things pass. And if a guy is working 40 hours a week at some manual labor or whatever, and he's coming back from work drinking Bud Light or Carling Lager in Birmingham, England, or drinking Bud Light in Birmingham, Alabama, and he's enjoying himself, it's pretty it reflects badly on me if I go in there and tell him how he really doesn't like the product and he shouldn't be drinking it. That's sort of a indictment of me, not him.
Yeah.
It's not my role
Yep.
to lecture him on what he needs to drink, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's the thing that comes up a lot whenever we do these chats. Is there are people out there who will try and enforce their drinking choices on other people, not just form opinions about sex, but will outwardly attack because they like a certain alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, it's like in my mind, I mean, honestly, I'm being honest right here. In my mind, when I go into these taverns, pubs, bars, whatever you want to call them, I see people drinking Bud Light. In my mind, I want to go up to them and tell them, look, why don't you try to drink this 10% barley wine? It's got much more complex flavor.
Mm-hmm.
It has better body. It has a hop profile that's fascinating. It finishes semi-dry, and it's, I mean, why are you buying this Bud Light? You know, drink this barley wine, and you would just bring yourself into another world, really. That's what I want to do. But what I really do in real life is I just smile and keep to myself because, but you know, because they're not going to be open-minded. They're not going to say, well, let me try that. You know, it's not going to happen. So
yeah.
But the beer snobs, they're like militant, right? They're militant about it. They march into the bar and they start making these demands, and then I think they do a disservice in a way to the craft beer culture because it's the way they frame it. You know what I mean? Like the way they present it is inadequate.
All of the negative connotations with the world of craft beer come from people being overly elitist and snobbish over an alcoholic beverage. That's, I mean, I would say that beer is an important social aspect. It has been for countless years. But there are people who put maybe a little bit too much importance on what is essentially an alcoholic product, and they don't enjoy the beer. They get too caught up in the world of craft beer, if that makes sense.
Right, the culture.
Yeah, the culture.
I'll tell you a little story. I remember about 2 years ago, Stuart Pickard, you know him?
Oh, yeah.
Gin Riel Trail.
Yeah.
He gave it up. He threw in the towel. He said he's finished. No more.
Yeah,
but anyway,
which is a real thing.
Oh, I was so discouraged when I heard that. I got depressed, you know, but he said he just, there was too much politics and factions, you know, all these factions. Why, like you say, when you're drinking beverages, why do there have to be factions in it? I'm going to unfriend you. I'll show you, you bastard. I'll block you, you know. He said, what is this? This is insanity, you know. So Stuart Picard said, this is madness, you know. I can't be part of this madness, you know. So anyway, but I remember about 2 years ago, we wanted to do a hangout. He said, oh, in his Yorkshire accent, oh, let's do it. Oh, let's do it. You know, Yorkshire accent. Oh, let's do a hangout. I say, what do you want to hang out about? Let's do, he said, let's do what's the big one over there? I'm trying to think of the big one over there in England. It was sold here for about a couple of years, but it didn't make it over here. It's called I think it's Green King. It's
oh, Green King.
It's got the horseshoe on it. You know, the one with the horseshoe? It's got the green label and the horseshoe. It's an ale. It's
oh, what is that? Oh, I think I know that beer. It's on the tip of my tongue, but
it's one of those prominent ales over there in England. It's got the horseshoe. It's
horseshoe,
and it's called, I want to say Green King Ale, but it's not. It's called damn nation. It's called
would that be Abbott Ale?
No, no, it's not Abbott Ale. It's from that same line of beers, though, same line of ales. It's
Yeah, I can see the label in front of me now, but I just can't put a
I
name
know it's
to it.
made by Green King. I know it's made by Green King. Let me try to look it up. Main part about it. So like, okay, Stuart says, yeah, let's look at that. Let's do a video. Okay, so we're gonna do a video. Oh boy. Well, you know me, I don't care. I'll drink anything.
Yeah.
So green, let's see, Green King. Green King. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. This is sort of important. I need to find this.
Yeah, yeah. Stuff like this kills me sometimes when I can't remember.
So Stuart says, we're gonna review. Okay. So immediately, like within, I swear to you, 30 seconds, here come the notices. Oh my God. That's a dead ale. Stuart said, what do you mean it's dead? It's a dead ale. No one drinks this. He said, what do you mean no one drinks it? No one drinks that beer. Stuart said, do you realize this is one of the top selling ales in Great Britain, the United Kingdom, UK, whatever you say, UK.
Yeah.
No one drinks it. They just went berserk. Their eyes rolled back in their head. They were so enraged. Enraged. He said, what do you mean it's a dead ale? It's not a real ale. It's not a real ale. It's not a real ale. It's made with E numbers. E numbers. It comes on E numbers. He said, what do you mean? What are you talking about? It's true. Look it up. He said, where's the proof? Well, look it up. Look it up, you fascist. He said, well, wait a minute. You're telling me. Now, I like what Stuart said. He said, oh, well, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Oh, well, they were worried about it. Believe me.
Oh, I can imagine. Yes, there's such a venom towards Green King.
Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. He said, why don't you just provide the source? It's E numbers, E numbers, E numbers. He said, what do you mean? Do you have the proof? Look it up, you fascist. Okay. No sort of evidence. No sort of evidence. Just talk, talk, talk. I swear it was, he said, I can't believe it. I'm being attacked from all ends. And these people were enraged, like they wanted to do violence. Well, of course, then, well, that was it. We were definitely going to do the hangout then. But I'm trying to think what's the name of it. It comes in a can. It comes in a can. It's an ale. It's very popular over there. I'm trying to look it up. I'm on their website right now.
Yeah.
When I tell you the name, you're going to put a gun to your head, you know. You're going to say, I can't
oh,
believe
yeah,
it.
yeah. It's going to be the end of me because I know what it is, but I just can't.
You see, over here, we don't see it much, so I can't remember because we don't get that kind of stuff over here too much. But I saw it in the can, and I saw the 4-pack, and I couldn't believe it. I said, I got to buy it.
Oh,
Made
yeah,
in Burton on, I think it's made in Burton-on-Trent.
Yeah.
I'm going to find it. But I never, we were, Stuart and myself, we both thought it was so comical because we couldn't believe that people would become so enraged by a beverage. They literally thought that we were running death camps or ordering we were ordering assassinations. You know, we were having people murdered because we were drinking this beer. That was the level of the vitriol, you know, the
yeah, I've come across plenty of people like that.
So we just played it up. What the more hysterical people got, we just played it up more and more. Video. Oh, wait, I almost have it. John Smith's ale.
John Smith's ale. Okay.
Oh my goodness, how I could not remember that. How it's been made.
That they were owned by Green King.
Been made for 200 years. John Smith's ale. I knew I would come and remember it. You've heard of it?
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the smoothest bitters that I think I've ever drank.
But it was funny because the commentary we got from people was no one in Great Britain drinks that. No one drinks it. No one drinks John Smith's ale. Now, I've never been to the United Kingdom, so I cannot comment.
I've seen plenty of people drinking John Smith's.
So Stuart Pickard, he says, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
What do you mean? It's all the pubs. He said, it's all the pubs. It's in all the pubs.
It's a very good impression of Stuart, by the way. That's a very good impression.
Yeah, I think I've watched enough of his videos over the years, you know.
Oh, yeah.
He said, what do you mean? It's in all the pubs. It's in all the pubs everybody drinks it. You work for big companies, they say. You work for a big company. You work for the man. You work for the man.
Oh, God.
Stuart said, oh, I work for a convenience store. I don't even work for a brewery. What are you talking about? Huh? And he was private. He was sending me private messages. What is all this? I said, I don't know. I don't know these people. But when we said John Smith's ale, people just went berserk. And that was pretty fun. You know, it was about 2 or 3 years ago. But I think the thing that discouraged him is that it never stopped. Like it just kept going on. These people,
yeah, it's just
mad,
constant bickering.
Bickering, constant. They go mad. And he said, why, oh, why would I ever want to just continue to do this? And I think he got discouraged. And he said, I'm throwing in the towel. I've drank enough. I've drank enough. I've woken up enough in the morning saying, where am I? What is going on? Where was I? And I don't need it. I don't need this in my life. And I said, amen. I can't argue about that.
No, I could totally see why he's decided to stop, because just some of the people that I've come across, especially on Facebook, I'd say it happens more on Facebook.
Oh, Poison Book. Poison Book.
Yeah.
And they all have fake names.
Yeah.
All have fake profiles.
Well, they're just fake people anyway.
And they talk dog. We call that talking dog, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
They would never say these things with face.
Yeah, we've got another word for it, but it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, we call it talking dog. You know, talking dog. They would never say that in public to your face. But online, sitting behind a keyboard, they are the bravest people you ever met. You never met any people so brave.
Yeah, yeah. You'd think they'd been to war the way they talk online.
Oh, they were in World War II, Korea, Vietnam.
Yeah, they've seen it all.
Libya. But of course, really, they've only been at their mama's house reading Playboy. But golly, they sure like to project what they've, in their fantasy world, have done. But Stuart and I we found it so strange, you know, because we never said that John Smith's ale was anything great.
Yeah, yeah. You were just doing an honest review of the beer, and some people just can't take that. They're like, I can't believe you betrayed me like this. You're a disgrace to the craft beer community. And it's like, just calm down. If you could look outside of yourself for 1 second and hear the absolute inane insanity coming out of your mouth, it's people would just, I don't know. But I love doing this sort of stuff. I think it's a great hobby.
Yeah.
But some of the people just make it quite miserable at times. Right.
I know you had a run-in in the last 6 weeks with these people. They went after you, and you got into this conflict, and that made you make a little video series, and but Stuart, you know.
Oh, yeah.
They kept saying, it's a dead ale, it's a dead ale, dead ale. And Stuart said, what do you mean it's dead? It's not dead. It's dead, it's a dead ale, it's a dead ale. And he said, what are you talking about? So, but yeah, but what you encountered, what Stuart encountered, what I encountered, and then you get these people that are insane. They're insane. They watch every video you make and they have to, I'll show you, you bastard, you communist, you fascist, you racist, you maniac.
Yeah.
I'll show you, I'll put a thumbs down on every video you make. Well, hell, that's important.
They think that the thing is, they think they're so big and clever by labeling, and it doesn't matter what you say, what you do. You're always labeled something that ends in ist. You're something something ist. You're a something something ist. You're a dirty something something ist. And it's just like, just get a grip. I don't get why people.
The funny
like
thing
that.
Right. The most comical thing about it is that I can't speak for you. I can only speak for myself. I want to be very clear about this. I am not an important person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do particularly important things. My life has not been notable for being important. When I die, I will not be remembered by a particularly large amount of people. But if you listen to the commentary, you would think I was the president of the United States, or the emperor of the world, or the vice president of the world. Oh, he does this, he does that. Do you remember in August of 2015, he said this? I said, well, this is amazing. You know more about my videos than me.
Yeah, you've got a better grasp on my life than I have. Thank you for keeping me updated. It's
right. And I've said that. I said, you know more about my videos than me. I'm just drinking it and talking about it, but you're analyzing it to the hilt. And then I'll hear people, they'll come back to me. I can't speak for you, like I said, but they'll come back to me. Did you hear what so-and-so said about your video on this other forum? I said, no. Well, here, look at it. And it's pages and pages. I said, wow. I'm not that interested in it. But apparently they are. So it goes on and on. I said, well, it proves one thing. You can be a nobody and make a few videos, and then all of a sudden you're a somebody.
Yeah.
And not even by design.
No, it just gets to a ridiculous proportion. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes it can be entertaining to sit back and see the chaos. But it gets to a point where it's like, come on now.
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
And I think the most entertaining part is that, like what I'm telling you, that these people are making importance out of something that is almost completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
Do I wish I was important? Not particularly. But do I think I'm important? I know better. But it's fascinating. It's fascinating to me that somebody else, there's other people watching, they think this is some kind of big deal. I said, do you realize I have only about 7,000 subscribers? They have people on the internet, on YouTube, that have millions. You know what I'm saying?
Literally millions.
Like PewDiePie or whatever his name is. I never watched. I said, why don't you worry about PewDiePie? He's somebody that people actually watch. Not Louisiana Nobody Reviews or Peter the Clueless Nobody Watches Reviews. You know, why are you worried about nothing?
Yeah.
Like literally nothing. You're worried about nothing. You're worried about something that matters not at all. Well, I don't get it. But maybe I'm missing, maybe there's some particular point of importance I missed. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It doesn't annoy me or frustrate me, but you find yourself lost for words when you see some of the stuff. And thankfully, well, in a way, thankfully, I've not had really any animosity thrown at me.
Yeah,
Especially not in the way that you've had over the past few years, which is something that I have noticed in different circles. I mean, you're fully aware of what stuff goes on as well.
Oh yes, I get a lot of feedback because when in those circles they'll make so and so statements, and it gets brought back to me because there's people on the inside that will be a part of that gang or whatever, but they're actually just part of the gang so they can give me information. I didn't ask for that. They just tell me, I'm going to see what I can find out, you know. I said, well, don't worry about it. Yeah. Oh no, I'm going to tell you what's going on. Well, I say, well, I know what's going on. I know what they're going to say, you know. So and then I get the feedback and I get the reports and they say, oh, he's a moron. Oh, he should put a gun to his head. And I say, well, I knew they were going to say that already, you know. But, oh, well, you know, so, yeah. And the funny thing about it is I say, well, I'm a big shot and I didn't even know it.
Yeah, they say, what is it that's the highest form of flattery? Oh, I can't think of what the word is right now. Mine's gone blank. But yeah,
right. The highest form of flattery is that thing that we can't think of. But yeah. But you know, it's funny. It's funny, Peter, because they say this is the funniest thing, the most ironic thing. Ronald or Jay, you know, depending on the forum, he's a fool. None of his videos matter. No one cares about his videos. His videos are stupid. He's irrelevant. Okay, I'll go along with that. But so if I'm irrelevant, why are you talking about me 29 hours a day? Seems to me, if I was irrelevant, I wouldn't be talked about.
Yeah, see, now that's the ultimate form of flattery. So it's, I don't know, it's, you've got to take the positive with the negative, I suppose, in situations like that, because the more these little groups decide, oh, he's uploaded a new video, we all have to go see if we can pick out anything that he says. You've got more views on that video because of their actions. So just what they're doing just does absolutely nothing but serve the likes of you and I who actually put the videos out there.
Yeah, and I'll read the commentary, like I'll get the feedback, I'll get the and it's, you know, it's really fascinating and comical and sad in a way. Hold on a minute, let me get a little bit more liquid. I'm getting thirsty. I'm not going to keep you long. I got to go do a few things. But
no, it's all good.
And I'm not crying about it because when I started doing videos in 2010, I knew the game. I did know. People say, oh, you just didn't realize how vicious it was. I did know. And I expected it. But I said, here's the fascinating thing. They said, oh. And then I get all this feedback, which is funny, you know. So, and then, but what I'm saying is they spend a lot of time finding out who's ratting us out, who
yeah,
who's sharing all this information, who's telling,
who's the mole?
Yeah, who's the mole? Because like they'll tell me things and then I'll plant things in the video. Like I'll make statements in the videos, which there's no way I can make.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll make statements in the video that there's no way I could make that statement if I didn't realize what was being said. So then I'll get the feedback. Who's the MF, the mother, you know what, who's sharing information with him? If we find out who you are, and this is the comical, if we find out who you are, we're going to kick you out of our group. It's not me. Oh, it's not me.
That was fighting one.
Listen, I wouldn't break ranks. I wouldn't break ranks. It's somebody else. Well, then they get paranoid because there's only like 6 people in the discussion group. I won't name names, but but anyway, so but then they know it has to be one of them, right? There's 6 people in the group.
Yeah.
And I'm making all these little implied statements in the videos, But there's no way I can make the statement if I didn't have inside information. So then they say, who is the person? Who's sharing it? And then they go through each one. Is it you? Oh no, not me. It's you then, aren't you? You're from Canada, you son of a bitch. No, I hate my country. I hate Canada. It's not me. Well, it's you, isn't it? It's you from the East Coast of the United States. I always knew it was you. Oh no, I hate Ronald. I'd kill him. If I saw him in person, I'd shoot him through the head with a gun. It's not me. But then it has to be one of the six because
it's got to be one of them.
No, how could he know? So, and then I read all this and I'm thinking, you'll never find out unless you can read the code. But they can't read the code, I guess.
Yeah, if they were as intelligent as they'd like to think they are, they'd find a way.
But I can't get over it. I can't get over it. I'll say, I do a lot of stuff during the day, but none of it involves really, not much of it at least, trying to find out who's talking about me. But it just comes in. The information will trickle in. Oh, well. Yeah. You know, that's a pretty important thing, Peter. Finding out who disagrees about beverages. Think about all the problems in the world. War, famine, racism, poverty.
Yeah.
Pollution.
No, the biggest issue of them all.
Yeah, I think you and I. Yeah, I think you and I would agree that with all these problems in the world, that worrying about who talked about this and that beverage is probably the most important issue that we need to deal with in today's world.
Yeah, I literally lose sleep over opinions on alcoholic beverages. It just never escapes me, and yeah, I hold my hands up to it.
Is terrorism a problem? Yes, but obviously beer and other alcoholic beverages is much more important, and I think we all agree on that.
Reviewing a calling is,
oh my god,
that's the biggest waste of human life that there is.
No one drinks Carling. I've been told this numerous times. No one in Great Britain drinks Carling. The #1 selling lager in Great Britain. Because you are racist, that's why. I say, well, that's a good one.
Well, you got me.
You got me there, buddy. It's the #1 selling lager in Great Britain because you are racist. Now, you see, there's a very simple way to explain these world problems. You know what? It's better to laugh it off. It's better to laugh it off than dwell on it.
Oh yeah, it's better to laugh than to let it eat you up inside, like it does do to some people. Some people can't turn off the computer and leave what's been said there on the computer, and it's a real shame because there are people who are rarely in some horrible situations just because they take something that's been said on the internet about them, and it's at the end of the day, it's just someone behind a keyboard who will never meet you in person.
I think what you're saying is they can't look at things within context.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to get off of this because I want to go walking and I got to do a few things. But I hope some other people join your hangout and y'all can talk about whatever the topic may be.
Yeah, well, I think I'm actually going to stop this when you've left because I'm having some technical difficulties because I can see the video, but I can't actually see like a big video on the main screen. It's just always the icon of both of us. So that was why when you were showing the whiskies before, it was quite hard for me to see because I could only see it on the thumbnail in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and I don't know what's been going on.
Right, I can see it's like what you say, hung up.
Yeah.
Like it's stuck.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and do another another operating system. See if that changes it. And plus, I need to get a new drink anyway. So
right, no more drinking for me today. I'm gonna drink hot tea. That's it. Hot tea.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Hot tea, and then I'm just gonna rest. All right. Well, thanks, Peter. I really do appreciate you giving out this general invitation.
Yep. Anytime, Ron. Anytime. Always good to have you on the chat.
Thank you. Thank you, and take care, and have a great Sunday. You hear?
Yeah. You too. Have a good week. Well, the rest of your weekend.
All right. Bye.
Cheers. So yeah, I'm gonna take. There's nobody watching, so it's pointless me even talking about this now. But I'm just gonna take a 10-20 minute break. Try different, not operating system, stupid, but a different internet. So I'm using Safari, and I'm just not seeing video at all at the moment. I was having this problem last night, which wasn't too much of a problem because it was just mainly conversation. But yeah, it's annoying me. So yeah, I'll be back, and I'll probably send out a Google Plus link and stuff like that. So if anybody wants to join, fair enough. I'm speaking to nobody, so it makes no difference whatsoever. If you're watching the playback of this, I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully there'll be another playback after this one. So yeah, see you guys in a little bit.